Imagine opening your bank account, expecting your regular CPP or OAS payment, only to discover that your monthly income is lower than it could be. You check your statement, you check your deposits, and everything appears normal. But what if the problem is not that your payment is wrong? What if you simply haven't claimed every benefit you may qualify for? For Canadian seniors, CPP, OAS, GIS, and several tax-related benefits can overlap in ways that are surprisingly easy to miss. And the most frustrating part is that receiving one government benefit does not automatically mean you are receiving every other benefit available to you. Today, I want to show you where those gaps can happen, what numbers actually matter, and what you should check before assuming your current payment is all you're entitled to. Before we get into the details, subscribe to Canada Seniors Update and turn on notifications. The reason is simple. Senior benefit rules, payment amounts, and income thresholds can change, and waiting until a payment is missing is the worst time to discover that something in your file needs attention. This channel is here to help you understand CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA information in plain language, so you can check your own situation before making an important financial decision. Let's start with CPP, because this is where many people make their first mistake. CPP is based primarily on your contributions during your working years, the age you start receiving it, and your contribution history. The amount is not the same for everyone. According to the Government of Canada, the maximum CPP retirement pension at age 65 inches 2026 is more than $1,500 per month, while the average new retirement pension at age 65 is considerably lower at roughly $900 per month. That difference matters because seeing someone else receive a particular CPP amount does not mean you should automatically receive the same amount. Your CPP amount can also be affected by when you begin your pension. Starting before 65 generally reduces the monthly amount, while delaying CPP after 65 can increase it. So if you are approaching retirement or already receiving CPP, your personal contribution record is far more important than a headline claiming that every senior is receiving the maximum. Now we come to OAS. Old age security is different because it is not based on your CPP contribution history. It is generally based on your age and residence history in Canada, along with other eligibility requirements. For someone receiving OAS, the amount can also vary depending on age and circumstances. The maximum monthly OAS amount is adjusted periodically, and the government publishes current payment rates. But there is another important number that seniors need to understand: income. Your OAS itself is not simply based on how much CPP you received. However, higher income can lead to the OAS recovery tax, commonly called the OAS clawback. This is where your CRA tax return becomes extremely important. Think about that connection for a moment. You might look at your Service Canada account and see your CPP and OAS. Then you look at your CRA information separately and assume the two systems are completely unrelated. They are not. Your tax information can affect your OAS through the recovery tax rules, depending on your income. And this brings us to one of the most overlooked programs of all, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, or GIS. GIS is designed for lower-income OAS recipients who meet the eligibility requirements. The maximum amount can be substantial, but not every eligible senior receives the maximum. Your income, marital status, and other circumstances matter. This is why you should never assume that because you receive CPP and OAS, there is nothing else available to you. The important connection is this: CPP income can count toward the income used to determine GIS eligibility. That means taking more income from one source can sometimes affect another benefit. This does not mean CPP is bad or that you should avoid it. It means you need to understand how the programs interact before making decisions about retirement income. For example, imagine a senior who receives OAS and CPP and has very little other income. That person may want to check whether GIS is being received and whether the government has the correct income and marital status information. Another senior with additional pension, investment, or employment income could have a different result. This is why comparing your payment to your neighbor's payment can be misleading. Two Canadians of the same age can receive very different amounts because their contribution histories, income levels, residence histories, and family circumstances are different. There is another issue that many seniors discover too late: taxes. Even when you are retired, filing your tax return remains extremely important because CRA information is used in determining eligibility for several income-tested programs and credits. GIS is particularly important here. If you fail to file your tax return when required, the government may not have the information needed to automatically assess your continued eligibility. This is one of the hidden connections between CRA and Service Canada that deserves much more attention. Your tax return is not just about paying taxes. For many seniors, it also helps establish the income information used for government benefit calculations. So if you think, I don't have much income, so I don't need to file, be extremely careful. Your personal tax situation may be different, and failing to file can create problems with benefits you depend on. Now, let's talk about another payment that seniors often overlook: tax credits and provincial or territorial programs. Some benefits are federal, while others are administered by provinces and territories. Your eligibility can depend on your income, age, housing situation, family circumstances, or other factors. That means checking CPP, OAS, and GIS alone may not give you the complete picture. For example, depending on where you live, you may have access to programs involving property taxes, prescription costs, utilities, housing assistance, or other senior supports. The rules are different across Canada, so never assume that a program available to your friend in another province applies to you. This is where I want you to make a simple distinction. There is a difference between a benefit that is automatically calculated and a benefit that requires you to apply or provide information. If a benefit is automatic, the government may determine your eligibility using information already available in your file. But if a program requires an application, you can miss it simply because you never submitted one. That is why the phrase, "I'm already receiving government benefits," should never be treated as proof that you are receiving everything available. Now, here is an important insider point. When you receive your benefit information, don't only look at the dollar amount. Look at the type of payment, the period it covers, and whether the information about your circumstances is correct. If your marital status changed, if your spouse passed away, if you separated, if you moved, or if your income situation changed significantly, those details can matter. A senior who notices an incorrect personal detail early has a much better chance of correcting the record before a problem grows. And this is where people who work with retirement planners often have an advantage. Their advisors routinely review multiple programs together instead of looking at CPP in isolation. Many seniors, however, only look at their bank deposit and move on. By the time they realize another benefit or adjustment may apply, months may have passed. You do not need to pay a financial advisor just to start checking your government records. You can begin with your own accounts. First, sign into your My Service Canada account. Review your CPP and OAS information and make sure your personal details are accurate. Second, sign into CRA My Account. Review your latest notice of assessment and your income information. Pay attention to the income figure that can be relevant to income-tested benefits. Third, if you receive GIS or believe you may qualify, check your eligibility carefully. If your circumstances have changed, contact Service Canada rather than guessing. Now, let's discuss the hidden trap that connects everything we've covered. Suppose your CPP payment increases because of a change in your retirement income. You might celebrate the extra money, and understandably so. But if your total income rises, that additional income can potentially affect an income-tested program such as GIS, or contribute to higher income for OAS recovery tax purposes, depending on your circumstances. This does not mean every CPP increase will reduce another benefit. It means you should look at your total retirement income rather than judging one payment in isolation. The same principle works in reverse. If your income falls because you stop working or another source of income disappears, you may want to check whether that change affects your eligibility for an income-tested benefit. The mistake is assuming the government will always automatically know exactly what changed and immediately apply every possible benefit. Sometimes the information is already available. Sometimes an application or update is required. Your job is to verify rather than assume. And please don't confuse maximum with typical. Government benefit pages publish maximum rates, but the actual amount a person receives depends on their circumstances. CPP is a perfect example. The maximum retirement pension is available only to people who meet the contribution requirements needed to reach that maximum. The average is much lower. OAS also has maximum monthly rates, but the actual amount depends on factors such as age and eligibility. GIS has maximum rates as well, but your actual amount depends heavily on income and family circumstances. So when you hear someone say, seniors are getting over $2,000 a month, stop and ask what programs are being combined, what age the person is, what their income is, and whether the amount is a maximum or an actual average. That distinction can protect you from misleading information online. Another important point is that not every payment you hear about on social media is a new government benefit. If a video, message, or phone caller tells you that you have been approved for a special senior payment and asks for your banking password, credit card information, gift cards, or an urgent transfer, stop. The CRA warns Canadians about scams, and legitimate government communications do not work by demanding gift cards or threatening you with immediate arrest or account closure because you refuse to pay during a phone call. If you receive a suspicious communication, don't use the phone number provided by the caller. Go directly to the official Government of Canada website and find the correct contact information yourself. You can also report suspected fraud to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Now, let's turn this into 3 simple actions you can complete this week. Step 1. Open your My Service Canada account and review your CPP and OAS information. Check that your personal details and benefit information are correct. Step 2. Open CRA My Account and look at your latest notice of assessment. Make sure your tax filing information is up to date and understand which income figure is being used for your benefit calculations. Step 3. If you receive GIS or you have a low retirement income and think you may qualify, contact Service Canada and ask them to review your situation. Don't rely on a neighbor's payment amount or something you saw on Facebook. And if you need help with your taxes, look into the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, commonly known as CVITP, if you meet the program's eligibility requirements. The most important lesson today is simple. Don't look at your retirement income one payment at a time. CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA information can be connected. A change in one part of your financial picture can sometimes affect another part. That is why reviewing the complete picture is more useful than simply asking, how much is my CPP? Now I want to hear from you. Before watching this video, did you know that CPP, OAS, GIS, and your CRA income information could interact in ways that affect your overall retirement benefits? Have you ever checked your government accounts and discovered that something was missing, incorrect, or different from what you expected? Tell me your province and your experience in the comments. Your story could help another Canadian senior recognize something they need to check. And please share this video with a parent, spouse, sibling, or friend who is already receiving CPP or OAS, especially if they have a lower retirement income or have recently experienced a major change in their circumstances. As we move through 2026, payment dates and benefit rates will continue to matter. But the bigger issue is knowing what you are actually entitled to and making sure your government records are accurate. You spent decades working and contributing to Canada. These programs exist to provide support during retirement, and you deserve to understand how they work. I'm Canada Seniors Update. Subscribe for clear Canadian CPP, OAS, GIS, and CRA updates without the complicated language. Take care of yourself, check your records, and I'll see you in the next video.